So Antebellum. Abby, you're the only one who saw this. This is a solo review for you. I don't know too much about this. I didn't even watch the trailer because I was looking forward to it just from knowing Janelle Monáe is involved. This is, from the producers of Get Out. So yeah, what is Antebellum about? Who else is in it? And I want to know what you thought of it.
Oh boy. Okay. This is going to be an exciting one to just talk about on my own. So Antebellum is from Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz, who I think have done more kind of photography and advertising work up to this point, but have a filmmaking background.
This is their first feature film directing, right?
Yes, yeah, first feature film. And it stars Janelle Monáe, and it kind of takes place in it occurs over like 3 separate sections. I'll say that. The first section takes place on a what seems to be a southern plantation in the middle of the Civil War, and that kind of goes along with all of the horrible treatment of enslaved people, as you might think, and starts with a pretty violent and awful thing where 3 escaped slaves, of which Janelle Monáe's character is one, are being brought back to the plantation. And you kind of get the sense that this is not exactly the situation that you think it is, kind of the further in that it goes. So Janelle Monáe's character, Eden is her slave name, is kind of taken to a separate kind of jail location, basically, and branded so that she won't try to escape again. And she's pretty shaken up by the experience, and she still wants to try and escape enslavement, but is not sure how that's going to happen or when. And she's kind of galvanized by the arrival of a new group of slaves, one of whom is played by Kiersey Clemons. And the way that Kiersey Clemons talks to Janelle Monáe, you get the sense that there's something going on, that she knows who she is, but she's not like she's a pretty well-known figure. She's not actually a slave. And then that kind of leads us into the second part of the film, in which a woman, Veronica, again, Janelle Monáe, who is a well-known kind of activist and writer, is going to a conference to kind of do a presentation related to a book of hers that's just come out. And she has like a husband and a daughter who she loves. She lives a pretty nice, I'd say, kind of wealthy life. She seems to have a lot of money. And so while she's at the conference, she goes out to dinner with 2 friends, which leads to a kind of frightening series of events that lead into the third act of the film, in which Eden kind of leads a revolt and escapes. I'm going to try not to ruin the twists and turns of the plot for those who still want to kind of figure that out on their own. I would say that if you have seen the trailer, you probably have a pretty solid idea of what to expect, even though it's not really revealed there either. But it goes kind of where you'd think it would go. I think that there are definitely more interesting ways that it could have gone. I would direct people to check out Angelica Jade Bastien's review of the movie on Vulture, which I think is a pretty good indicator of what the movie doesn't do very well. The end twist of the movie is really not. It's not as original or as clever as the directors would like you to think that it is, or as they think that it is. And it brings to mind a lot of elements that are kind of problematic in the way that they treat their characters the more that you think about it. And I think it, and I don't think that this is unfair to say. I think the way that it is revealed what's actually going on and who the slaves at this plantation are, and what they have been before, I think what it does is put them in a situation where it strips them of their agency, basically, and kind of puts them into roles that they just sort of blindly assume, where the more that you think about the movie, the more that you know about the characters who are there, the less that makes sense. And I think that was kind of my major issue with the movie. there's also a fair amount of extreme violence against women. And for the first parts of it, as awful as that is, you kind of understand a little bit why it's there. But once that gets stripped of its context, of the context that it might have had, the feeling about that becomes very different. And so I'd say it feels like a concept that is not really fully baked. It feels like something that someone might kind of present in like their first year of film school or at an MFA project where they say, here's the idea. The idea is racism is real bad. And this William Faulkner quote about the past not being dead and not even past is basically the entire concept of the film. And then kind of presenting that to a, like, say, a creative circle of friends who then like proceed to tear it apart completely. That's sort of the way that it feels when you're watching the film. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk again.
Oh boy. So many fun TED Talks from Abby now that she's joined the show.
Indeed.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what the twist is, but I've heard it compared to like even less insightful than some of the worst M. Night Shyamalan twists. So I guess that's kind of where this film had me. I probably am not going to check it out at any point. But yeah, I just looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score. 28% of critics liked it, pretty low out of 116 reviews. And that's not good, which I'm sad about because I'm a big fan, of course, of Janelle Monáe. And I didn't have any real expectations for this necessarily because I'm not familiar with these first time feature filmmakers. But yeah, sad to hear that this one didn't quite meet expectations. So.
Yeah, I'm disappointed as well because the early looks at it really seemed like it could be a fantastic kind of high concept thing that could go in a lot of different directions, but unfortunately it kind of takes the most basic approach that it could.
That's sad. What did you say your grade for this one was again?
I would probably give this a C-. There are some elements of it that are kind of pretty and well shot. I would say that the production value of it definitely is very high, but pretty much everything surrounding it is pretty hard to get behind. So yeah, I'd say a C-.
All right. Well, Antebellum is available to stream on demand. I'm not sure if to rent as well as buy, but this does not sound like a film you might want to take the risk of buying. If any of you see it and like it a little bit more, I'm curious if anyone will comment and let us know, because it definitely does not seem like this film has a lot of fans so far.